I want to take you back to 60 years ago this week. It was 1963, the year of Birmingham. As tensions heightened in the fight for freedom and equality, Birmingham was ground zero, a city at the boiling point of racial tension. But the children, sprayed with water hoses, attacked by dogs, and ultimately jailed, thousands of them, happened to be the catalyst that led to world change. Many of them are now senior citizens who say this is a story they won't soon forget.
I'm going down in old Birmingham, I'm gonna sing.
It's a way that with tears has been watered, a path tread quite literally through the blood of the slaughtered.
This is sacred ground.
But out of that gloomy past to our present is a history that must be remembered and a people that must be appreciated. It was 60 years ago to the day, 1963, the year of Birmingham.
The world is still watching. The world was watching in '63, and I think there was an opportunity through organized effort, through an intentional effort, through nonviolence, for us to showcase to the world the push-pull.
A different time, some might call it a different world.
And I say segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever.
I grew up in the Smithfield area, and of course, Smithfield was kind of elite area because we had everything there.
Gloria Washington Lewis-Randall, Janice Kelsey, and Alvin Wesley all grew up on the black side of town. What they knew about life existed in their community, only surrounded by people who looked like them.
There wasn't a lot of killings, no racism, because like she said, everybody would look like me. We didn't have any diversity.
It was only when they left the sanctuary of their communities, they felt the heavy burden of Jim Crow laws.
That's when I encountered signs that said I could only drink colored water. Riding the bus, I could only sit or stand in a colored section.
I was used to all the Jim Crow laws. I knew I was supposed to ride in the back of the bus. I knew that when I went to the department stores, I couldn't sit down.
Little did these children know a battle was brewing, a fight for freedom and equality in Birmingham that would impact the world. A fight that had now made it to the youngest generation.
I had a girlfriend whose mother and sister sang in the movement's choir. And it was meeting on Monday nights at different churches. And she would come to school and talk about the mass meetings. Not necessarily about Dr. King or Reverend Shuttlesworth, but about the movement, the music, and the crowds, and the cute boys.
We've been sitting here dead for years, and all we have to do is get up and start walking.
He ended by saying, if you want to do something about it, you can. Your parents can't, because if they get involved, they're going to jail, and there's nobody to take care of you.
A secret plan was crafted for students to walk out of class and march down to 16th Street.
Tall Paul and Den Man and Shelly Playboy, all of them on radio, and they're giving us these codes.
One of the songs was A Change Is Gonna Come by Sam Cooke.
That's it?
Yeah. And
okay.
Then one of the slangs that was used by the DJs, we're gonna jump and shout, we're gonna turn it out. And I fully understood what that meant. You're gonna leave school.
Thousands of students from across the metro area, even as far as Fairfield, left school at the same time that day and walked to 16th Street Baptist Church. Kelsey says she was prepared for the fate that she would meet.
I woke up with my mind on freedom. I was so excited getting myself together to go to jail. So I got my toothpaste, my change of underwear, everything I thought I would need for maybe an overnight stay.
The morning of May 2nd, 1963, they arrived at 16th Street Baptist Church, met by Bevel and Andrew Young. They got a pep talk and were deployed into the streets.
Birmingham wants freedom. Walk down here, Birmingham, if you want your freedom.
And we sang some freedom songs, Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around, and before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave.
We
and
shall
it was
overcome.
We Shall Overcome was like the theme song.
Theme song, yeah.
And then they said some prayers, and they lined us up in pairs, and we walked down those steps.
And when we got there, we were supposed to pull the sign out and parade in front of the bus station and City Hall. And then you got arrested. Well, there was an angry mob across the street. You never saw such cussing and throwing balls and bricks.
That's when I saw the dogs and the firemen putting the hoses on the children, and the dogs running the kids everywhere.
All in the name of civil rights, many of them imprisoned for days, some weeks, and some even months, where they endured dire circumstances, beatings in jail, and even being placed in a sweat box.
I was in jail 4 days.
I was in jail 5 days.
Months. Like close to 6 months.
Protests were filmed and spread across the country like wildfire. It even gained the attention of then President John F. Kennedy, who made a speech demanding a resolution. And that resolution would come in the form of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. 60 years later, the Birmingham Foot Soldiers, as they're dubbed, admit it still hurts to think about. Yet they found a way to forgive and move on. It's just the healing part that really has taken a long time.
Yes, it hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It's like a wound that doesn't heal. And I think that every foot soldier that marched, or everyone that went to jail, or anyone that was attacked by the water hoses or the dogs, all of them have PTSD.
Well, the Children's Crusade is heralded around the world as one of the televised events that changed the world. Several events are being held today to honor the men and women who were young and mighty and still fight for equality today. What an honor it was to speak to them.